Nefertiti is one of the most familiar of the ancient queens of Egypt, yet in some ways, if you ask any Egyptologist about her life, you'll probably find as many different answers as you are talking Egyptologists. Because, like her husband Akhenaten and her son Tutankhamun, she is the subject of a huge number of theories and thoughts. We have this jigsaw puzzle of ancient Egyptian history, of which 90% of the parts are missing, and what we try and do is to build a story around the 10% or even less pieces which survive. And this is true of Nefertiti as anybody else. As my old friend Nick Reeves has many theories about what may be behind the possible doors, perhaps in the tomb of Tutankhamun, I don't believe Nefertiti is behind any of them. I think if he finds Nefertiti beyond there, I will be amazingly shocked, shall we say. Of course, what we do know about her, I don't think anybody has questioned, is she was the wife of Akhenaten. There have been almost every single fact about the period has been questioned at some stage, but I think one would be reasonably happy to say she is the wife of her husband, Akhenaten. The earliest evidence we have for Nefertiti comes from the area of Thebes, from modern Luxor. But what's interesting is that the earliest years of the evidence for her husband's reign, there is no sign of her. The very, very earliest representations of him in the tombs of Ramosa and Kharoef, they show him without a wife. In one case, in Kharoef's tomb with his mother, and in another case, in Ramosa's tomb, he is shown with the goddess Ma'at in a position where one would normally expect to find a spouse. So therefore I think one would be clear that during the very earliest months, year possibly, of the reign of Amenhotep IV, the future Akhenaten, he was not married to Nefertiti. That changes fairly soon, because in the temples which Amenhotep IV, future Akhenaten, built at Karnak, she is visible from very early on. What's rather interesting when we look at some of those representations is that while her husband, Amenhotep IV, is transforming his appearance into the classical extreme form with the long chin, the scrawny neck, and all the various features which we associate with representations of him as Akhenaten in particular, Nefertiti remained looking remarkably normal for that first year or so. These two representations of Amenhotep on the left, Nefertiti on the right, are from the same scene. They're not from separate parts of the temple. So on the very, very same scene, the king and queen are shown in completely different styles. Nefertiti in very much the classical style of the earlier 18th dynasty, her husband in a much more extreme form.